My loving greetings, Vanakkam, Namaste, Prem Namaskar to one and all of you. Welcome to the Monday Sadhana. In order to commence, kindly sit comfortably with your spine upright. Gently close your eyes and keep your hands on your thighs, palms facing upwards. We will chant Om 3 times with our outward breath. So you take a deep breath through your nostrils and then chant Om as you breathe out. So we will do it together. You can gently open your eyes. Let me take you on a journey into consciousness. Your life will resonate at a high level of consciousness when your thoughts, words, and actions are pure. When your thoughts, words, and actions are pure, then you will be in a sacred state. But when your thoughts, words, and actions are in harmony, you will be in a beautiful inner state. By that I mean your thoughts must not be one. Some people with the thoughts one, the words are different, and the actions is completely different from the thoughts and the words. But all of them must be the same. They must be in harmony. So when the thoughts, words, and actions are pure, the thoughts, words, and actions are in harmony, you move into the sacred space and you elevate yourself into higher levels of consciousness. When this happens, you experience joy, peace, and happiness. You will become a dynamic and vibrant person, experiencing and radiating incredible flow of energy. You will also have a very pleasant personality, cheerful disposition, and an incredibly beautiful demeanor. However, at lower levels of consciousness, you'll be suffering. Why would you be suffering? The world is perfect as it is. You'll be suffering because of the way you are seeing the world is a problem. You think no one loves you, no one cares for you, and no one respects you. When you have that kind of mindset, everything you see in the world, it becomes a problem. You think everyone is controlling you. And therefore you experience problems, challenges, trials, tribulations, and consequently suffering. And all the suffering emanating from the problems and challenges and your mindset sinks you into lower levels of consciousness. And when you're lower level of consciousness, you experience poor relationships. So let's compare the low level to the high level of consciousness. With a high level of consciousness, there's connectedness. You connect easily with the divine. You connect with the elements of nature. You connect with all the life forms. You connect with people, humanity. But however, in low levels of consciousness, you experience separateness. You find difficulty in connecting, even with people, connecting with the elements of nature, and connecting with God. With high levels of consciousness, you'll see solutions to all the problems and challenges that you experience in life. But low levels of consciousness, you only experience the problems and you cannot see the solutions to it. With high levels of consciousness, there is a lot of cooperation. But with low levels of consciousness, there is indifference and not cooperation. You'll find from a high level of consciousness, you have a bird's eye view. With low levels of consciousness, you have a worm eye view. A bird is flying high. So the high is flying. It has a beautiful view of the world around. Whereas a worm is crawling on the ground, it can only see immediately around it. So you can see from a high level of consciousness how the visibility you have, the vision you have of the world around you, and you're constrained in the low levels of consciousness. Your high level of consciousness, everything is effortless. In low levels of consciousness, you have to push in a lot of effort and hard work to achieve something, to get things done. But everything in the high level of consciousness is so effortless, you just go through the mirror. When you're a high level of consciousness, everything is a synthesis. It comes together. But in low levels of consciousness, it's analysis. You become analytical. You want to try and make things work, analyze everything. And because you analyze everything, you even criticize. Whereas in the high level of consciousness, there's a natural synthesis about everything. You don't need to analyze anything. In high levels of consciousness, there is direct knowing. You appear to know things naturally. In the lower levels of consciousness, you look for reason and logic to understand things. And that search for reason and logic brings so much of suffering. You do not get to know a lot of things. In the higher levels of consciousness, you experience love and joy. It's a beautiful state that you experience all the time. But in the lower levels of consciousness, there is struggle and there is strife. In the high level of consciousness, you flow with life. But with lower levels of consciousness, there is so much of resistance. In higher levels of consciousness, you just become aware of everything. But in lower levels, you just become conscious. With higher levels of consciousness, it's the life of the heart. In the lower levels of consciousness, it is the life of the mind. What is the difference? The heart does not lie to you, but the mind will lie. You'll find the mind will make you lie about yourself to yourself, but the heart never lies. And therefore, with high level of consciousness, you're connected to the heart more than the mind. In the low levels of consciousness, you become the prisoner of the mind. In high levels of consciousness, you are living. And in the low levels of consciousness, you are just existing. So you must be able to see three things in your life. The first thing you will see is that you are in a struggling mode, fighting your way through the struggles. And because you're fighting your way through the struggles, life is not naturally flowing. You're struggling through life. And because you're struggling through life, you will show your anger and your frustrations. You will sometimes be rude, abrupt, and arrogant in your attitude. You'll carry a lot of baggage: anger, hatred, envy, jealousy, lust, greed. And that is what all sinks you to the lower levels of consciousness. And you will always be in an insecurity mode. In one of the banks in India, there was a watchman standing outside a bank. And he was so jovial, so full of life, and so happy. But yet, he was just an ordinary watchman. He was even exposed to the elements of nature and the outside, especially the heat of the day. In India, it is very hot in the summer. But whoever came to the bank, as they walked past the wall, he greeted them, he smiled at them. And the clients that came to the bank knew the watchman so much because of the way he welcomes them with the greeting and the smile and the laughter and the exchanging of interaction with them. You can see he was only a watchman, but his life was resonating at a high level of consciousness. But yet when the people went into the bank, when they met with the manager of the bank was rude and abrupt and arrogant. Yet the manager is working with a high salary, has got a degree qualification, but yet he was struggling at a lower level of consciousness by his attitude, by the way he conducts life. He was never happy, not joyful at all. And his attitude would say how he was struggling in his life. So the second thing we look at, the first one, the inner struggle and how we struggle with life and how our life plans out. The second thing is the anavam malam, this impurity that we have, this ego and egocentric desires. They become dominant in our life. You'll be able to see the ego games that you are playing in your day-to-day life when you're in a lower level of consciousness. How you dominate people's lives, how you dominate situations, how you could dominate meetings. Wherever you are, you want to be seen and you want to be recognized. And you also, when you look at yourself, you'll discover how you also refuse to be dominated. Because your ego does not want you to be defeated. Your ego does not want you to lose. Therefore, you refuse to be dominated by anybody. You always think that you are in control. Another thing that happens, you'll also see that in your interaction and with someone, you always vociferously tell the other, I am right. When you're so assertive, I am right, forcefully, vociferously, assertively, that is a display of the anavam, the ego, and the egocentric desires. By the same token, if you say, you are wrong, you do so assertively, vociferously, loudly, is also an indication of your anavam, your ego and egocentricness. This comes out when you are in the lower levels of consciousness. Another thing that happens is that you'll be able to see how you cover up in life, how you justify. Because your ego does not want to die, your ego does not want to be defeated, your ego makes you cover up everything. Even if you opened a business and the business collapsed and you lost a lot of money, and if somebody asks you about it, and you tell them, no, because of the recession or because of the pandemic, the reason why my business collapsed. You always try to cover it up. So this is what you will see when you are struggling. This is the second part. The first one is the struggle that you go through. Second one is the impact of the anavam in your life. And the third thing that you look at is how you're always judging. It's so judgmental. You start judging everyone. You start judging the people. You'll judge situations. You'll judge anything. Even somebody gives you a gift, you'll end up judging the gift. And because of your judgmental nature, you'll be starting classifying, evaluating, condemning, and criticizing. And when that happens, when you're very judgmental even about people, it shows that your heart has not opened up, your heart is not flowering, and therefore you do not feel causeless love. Because when you have causeless love in pouring out of your heart, you won't be judgmental. You'll experience people as they are. You won't judge them. And when that happens, then you resonate at a higher level of consciousness. Whereas when you're very judgmental, then you are struggling at a lower level of consciousness. So the expansion of consciousness, all your problems get diluted. If you have problems and challenges, the very fact that your consciousness is expanding, your problems become very minute. They get diluted, they'll disappear. As we continue working on ourselves, our consciousness will change. And when our consciousness changes, we will impact on the people around us. People will change. Our family members will change because our high level of consciousness will trigger off a response in their lives. Their consciousness will also become elevated. And it can go to the extent where you impact on the community and even the country. And the world will also change. If more and more people's lives change, their levels of consciousness get elevated, then you'll see a phenomenal spiral from you as an individual to a family, to community, to the country, to the world. We can effect changes in nature as well. And when we all are at a high level of consciousness, so many people are getting saved from accidents because their lives resonate at a high level of consciousness. Growth and high level of consciousness is so important to keep you safe. If you are Life resonates at a high level of consciousness. You'll always experience upward mobility, growth, and development in your life. And you'll always be protected because the universe will rearrange itself to protect the person whose life resonates at a high level of consciousness. Because the person at a high level of consciousness, his thoughts, words, and actions are pure and in harmony. And where the thought goes, energy flows. And the universe will rearrange itself to keep person on that level of consciousness safe and protected. There was a man who always drank a lot of liquor, and he was always found drunk on the roadside. Police locked him up many times. And this man had two sons. And the two sons saw the life of the father. So one followed the father and started drinking as well. The other changed his life, moved to a high level of consciousness, and became a billionaire. Whereas the one who followed the father started drinking, is then moved lower and lower, like his father. He too was locked up. He too was found drunk on the roadside. So you can see the consciousness changes and life changes. If you become aware of these three things in your life, you will start growing. The three things that sinks your level of consciousness, this brings you down. The struggling mode, the survival mode, the ego and egocentric desires, and the judgmental nature of your life. Now, sit comfortably with your spine upright, hands on your thighs, palms facing upwards, and just contemplate on the three things in your life. Are you in a struggling mode, in a survival mode? Or are you in a beautiful state, flowing with life, with pure thoughts, words, and actions? The second thing you also contemplate on is your own ego and egocentric desires. What games are you playing? Are you also one who also wants to dominate people, dominate situations, dominate meetings? Wherever you are, you want to be known, want to be recognized. Are you also forcefully say, I am right, you are wrong? Do you always cover up? In your contemplation, you have to be honest to yourself. Be authentic. Be true to yourself and see exactly what is happening. When you are able to see the three things that in your life, then you'll be able to liberate yourself from those three things. You'll start growing and moving slowly higher and higher, elevating yourself to high levels of spiritual consciousness. So begin with your contemplation. have identified all the things that are bringing you down lower levels of consciousness. Be aware of it. We will now chant Arut Perum Jodi, Arit Perum Karuni, the all compassionate light. Your divine as the all compassionate light. We glorify your divine to help you come out of low levels of consciousness and elevate yourself to higher levels of consciousness. You can either join the chant or remain in silence and stillness and resonate with the chant. Arut Perum Jodi, Arut Perum Jodi, Tane Perum Karune, Arut Perum Jodi, Arut Perum Jodi, Arut Perum Jodi, Tane Perum Karune, Arut Perum Jodi, Arut Perum Jodi, Arut Perum Jodi, Tane Perum Karune, Arut Perum Jodi, Arut Perum Jodi, Arut Perum Jodi, Tane Perum Karune, Arut Perum Jodi. Arut Perum Jodi, Arut Perum Jodi, Tane Perum Karune, Arut Perum Jodi, Arut Perum Jodi, Arut Perum Jodi, Tane Perum Karune, Arut Perum Jodi, Arut Perum Jodi, Arut Perum Jodi, Tane Perum Karune, Arut Perum Jodi. Now continue to sit upright with your eyes closed in silence and stillness. Breathe with slow, long breaths through your nostrils to center yourselves into a state of relaxation. Now breathe, raising your hands up and taking in the energy of the universe into yourself. As you are breathing out, you let go of all your negativity and your negative emotions into the bosom of Mother Earth. Continue the process of breathing in, taking in the energy of the universe into yourself. And as you are breathing out, push out all your negative emotions and your negativity into the bosom of Mother Earth. Now breathe in, raising your hands up and taking in the energy of the universe into yourself. And as you breathe out, let go of all your stress, your tension, your problems and challenges into the bosom of Mother Earth. Whatever you let go does not belong to you anymore. Breathing in, you're taking the energy of the universe into yourself as you raise your hands up. And as you lower your hands and breathe out, you push out and let go of all your stress, tension, problems and challenges into the bosom of Mother Earth. Do this a few times. Now you breathe in, raising your hands up and taking in the energy of the universe into yourself. And as you're breathing out, you push out and let go of all your anxiety and anguish into the bosom of Mother Earth. As you breathe in, raising your hands up, you're taking the energy of the universe. As you breathe out, you let go of all your anxiety, anguish, push it out into the bosom of Mother Earth. Now you breathe normally. Visualize a bright, beautiful and brilliant flame or light at the space between your eyebrows. This flame or light is the manifestation of the Supreme Reality. As you visualize this flame, feel and experience the energy and vibrations of this light. It is your divinity in the form of this beautiful effulgence that is opening up your third eye, illuminating your inner world and beautifying your outer world. The inner illumination gives you clarity and intuitive wisdom to face the challenges of the world. And immerse yourself in this inner effulgence, and your life will elevate itself to resonate at a high level of consciousness. completely connect, surrender to this beautiful effulgence. Elevate yourself. As you feel a state of oneness and synergy with this flame or this effulgence, you now gravitate to a limitless field where there are infinite possibilities. Experience the power, the energy, and the vibrations of your inner divinity in this synergy and in this oneness. And just let yourself go and immerse yourself. அருட்பெரும் ஜோதி அருட்பெரும் ஜோதி கனைப்பெரும் கருணை அருட்பெரும் ஜோதி 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 அருட்பெரும் ஜோதி அருட்பெரும் ஜோதி கனைப்பெரும் கருணை அருட்பெரும் ஜோதி. Slowly you come back to your body. You become aware of your mind. Listen to your breathing as you become grounded. You can bring your palm together in front of your heart and give thanks and gratitude to God. And when you are ready, you can gently open your eyes. Thank you to all of you for connecting. The more and more people who gravitate at high levels of consciousness, who resonate at a high level of consciousness, can make a difference to the quality of lives of other people and can raise their consciousness as well. And we can impact on communities, on countries, and the world if people from all over the world are doing exactly what we are doing in this program. So God bless you. God be with you. Nandri and Vanakkam.